God, there's so much people.
I know! Tell me, how old are you?
5.
And where do you come from?
I live in Charleston, West Virginia.
A blind 5-year-old girl named Lucy shocked the judges on America's Got Talent like no one ever has before. Her small size and quiet presence made it hard to believe what would happen next. With the audience holding their breath, Lucy did something no one could have expected. How could a child who cannot see surprise the world in such a big way? Tune in, because what she revealed changed the story of the show forever. The little girl who stunned the world. This is the inspiring and heartwarming story of how a little girl, who had been blind since birth, wowed not just the judges, but everyone watching, revealing an incredible hidden talent that went far beyond expectations. Lucy's path to that moment was one of courage, love, and passion for music, and her performance was nothing short of magical. But what happened behind the scenes before Lucy's unforgettable performance will shock you even more, revealing a struggle that no one saw coming. As the lights dimmed in the packed auditorium of America's Got Talent, anticipation filled the air. The show had already seen its fair share of talented contestants that evening, but none of them had prepared the audience for what was about to happen next. The judges, Simon Cowell, Heidi Klum, Sofia Vergara, and Howie Mandel, sat behind their iconic panel, waiting for the next act. As the next contestant was announced, a small figure appeared from the wings, her hand tightly gripping her mother's as they made their way toward the stage. Lucy, a 5-year-old girl with curly blonde hair and a bright smile, walked slowly toward the center of the stage. It was immediately evident that she couldn't see the audience or the stage lights. Her mother gently guided her toward the microphone. Despite being so young and blind, she seemed calm, even confident. She had no way of knowing the thousands of people sitting in front of her, all eyes on her small frame, but somehow she seemed to sense that this moment was important. As she reached the center of the stage, the judges exchanged curious glances. It's not every day that someone as young as this little girl appears on America's Got Talent, and the fact that she was blind only added to the intrigue. What could this young child, who had already overcome so much, possibly have in store for them? It was clear that her performance would be something memorable, though no one could have predicted just how much it would affect everyone in the room. As the young girl stood by the microphone, her mother stayed close by, offering silent support. The judges began their usual introductions, asking her a few questions to get to know her better and to find out what she had planned for her audition. Simon Cowell, known for his often critical and serious demeanor, took the lead in speaking to her. With a gentle tone, he asked, "What is your name, and how old are you?" Her voice soft and sweet, the little girl responded, "My name is Lucy, and I'm 5 years old." Her innocent tone and shy smile immediately endeared her to the audience. There was something about her that made people want to root for her from the start. Without hesitation, she replied, "I'm going to sing." Her answer was simple, but there was something in the way she said it that hinted at the incredible performance that was about to follow. The other judges, Heidi, Sofia, and Howie, all smiled warmly at her. They seemed intrigued and curious, wondering what this tiny girl with such a big heart would bring to the stage. There was something undeniably special about the way she spoke. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She wasn't even aware of the vastness of the stage or the large number of people watching her, both in the theater and on television. She was just a little girl who loved to sing, and she was about to share that love with the world. Simon gave her an encouraging smile, wishing her luck, and then, with a nod, the music began to play. The audience fell silent, waiting with bated breath to see what this little girl, blind and barely 5 years old, could possibly do on one of the biggest stages in the world. As the opening notes of the song played, the theater seemed to shrink. What had moments before felt like a vast space filled with thousands of people now felt intimate and quiet, as if everyone was holding their breath in unison. Then she took a deep breath and sang her first note. As Lucy sang her first note, the strength in her voice was clear. But what happened next left everyone amazed. A child's voice that moved millions. The purity and strength of her voice shocked the room. From the moment her tiny voice filled the air, it was clear that this was no ordinary child. The note she sang was clear and powerful, but most of all, it was filled with emotion. Despite being so young, She sang with a depth and sensitivity that left the audience and the judges in awe. The look on Simon Cowell's face was priceless. His typically stoic expression melted into one of genuine amazement. His eyes widened as if he couldn't believe what he was hearing. It was rare for Simon to show such visible surprise, but her voice was something different, something magical. Heidi, Sophia, and Howie were equally stunned, their faces lighting up with shock and admiration as she continued to sing. The audience, too, was captivated. Some sat with their hands covering their mouths in disbelief, while others wiped away tears. The raw beauty of her voice was something no one had expected. It wasn't just that she could sing well. It was the way she seemed to pour every ounce of herself into the song. There was an emotional maturity to her voice that seemed far beyond her years, a kind of vulnerability and honesty that touched everyone who heard it. Her performance was more than just a display of vocal talent. It was an experience. As she continued to sing, the sheer power of her voice became more apparent. Her pitch was flawless, her tone full of warmth, and her delivery emotionally rich. What made her performance so special, however, wasn't just her technical ability, although that was impressive in itself. It was the way she connected with the song, and by extension, the audience. Blindness had never held her back, but instead had given her a unique connection to the world of sound. With her sight gone, her other senses had heightened, and it was clear that she had developed an extraordinary relationship with music. Every note she sang seemed to come from a place deep inside her, a place that wasn't restricted by the limitations of the physical world. As she sang, it became obvious that this wasn't just a talented child singer. She was an artist. Her voice had the ability to evoke emotions in a way that many adult performers could only dream of. She seemed to understand the emotional weight of the song she was singing, even if she couldn't fully articulate it in words. It was as if music was her first language, and she was communicating with the audience in a way that transcended words. By the time she hit the final note of her performance, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. People were crying, not just because of the beauty of her voice, but because of the purity and innocence with which she sang. There was no ego, no desire for fame or recognition in her performance, just a little girl sharing something she loved with the world. When she finished singing, the theater fell into a stunned silence. For a brief moment, it was as though no one could believe what they had just witnessed. The usual rush of applause that follows a performance didn't come immediately. Instead, there was a collective pause as everyone processed what they had just seen and heard. Then, as if on cue, the audience erupted into applause. It wasn't just polite clapping, it was a thunderous standing ovation. People rose to their feet, cheering and clapping with a level of enthusiasm that few performers ever managed to inspire. It was clear that the performance had touched something deep within them, something they would remember long after the show ended. The judges were just as moved. Simon Cowell, known for his sometimes harsh critiques, was the first to speak. He leaned toward his microphone and, with a smile, said, "Wow." His words were few, but they carried the weight of his astonishment. She had not only exceeded expectations, she had shattered them. Her talent was undeniable, and even Simon, who had seen thousands of performers over the years, was left nearly speechless by her performance. While the judges were impressed, it was the audience's reaction that proved Lucy's performance was more than just talent. It was truly special, a performance no one will forget. Heidi, Sophia, and Howie were equally impressed. Heidi, who was visibly emotional, praised the little girl for her bravery and talent, calling her performance beautiful beyond words. Sophia echoed the sentiment, expressing how moved she was by the young girl's voice and the emotional depth she had brought to the song. Howie, always quick to add a touch of humor, joked about how she had managed to leave even him speechless, which was a rare occurrence. But beneath the jokes and praise was a genuine sense of awe. The judges knew they had just witnessed something truly special, something that went beyond talent and skill. The performance was a reminder of the beauty and power of music, and the ability it has to connect people in ways that few other things can. As the applause finally began to die down, the cameras panned across the audience, capturing the wide range of reactions. Many people had tears in their eyes, clearly moved by the emotional power of the performance. Others wore expressions of disbelief, as though they couldn't quite wrap their heads around the fact that a 5-year-old girl could sing with such incredible talent and emotion. Parents in the audience held their children close, no doubt feeling inspired by the little girl's bravery and determination. It wasn't just her voice that had touched them, it was her spirit. Here was a little girl who had every reason to be afraid, who had faced more challenges in her short life than most people ever would, and yet she had stood in front of thousands of people and delivered a performance that was nothing short of extraordinary. It wasn't long before clips of her performance began circulating on social media. Within hours, the video had gone viral, with millions of people sharing it and commenting on how much they had been moved by her voice and her story. The overwhelming consensus was clear. She was a once-in-a-lifetime talent, and her performance on America's Got Talent had left a lasting impact on everyone who had the privilege of witnessing it. People from all over the world flooded the comment sections of the video, sharing their thoughts on the young girl's performance. Many expressed how deeply they had been moved, not just by her voice, but by her resilience and courage. She had become an inspiration to millions, showing that no obstacle was too great to overcome when you had a passion for something and the determination to pursue it. As the dust began to settle after the unforgettable audition, it became clear that this was only the beginning of her path. Her performance on America's Got Talent had opened doors that neither she nor her family could have ever imagined. Overnight, she had become a symbol of hope and inspiration, not just for those with disabilities, but for anyone who had ever faced challenges in their lives. In the days that followed her audition, the young girl and her family were inundated with offers from people in the music industry who wanted to help her develop her talent further. Vocal coaches, music producers, and even other professional singers reached out, offering their support and guidance as she began to take the first steps toward a career in music. For the 5-year-old, the dream of becoming a singer had always been there, even from a young age. Her family, who had always encouraged her to pursue her passion for music, now found themselves in the incredible position of being able to help make that dream a reality. They knew that she had something special, something that went far beyond just a good voice. She had the ability to connect with people on a deep emotional level, and they were determined to help her share that gift with the world. In interviews following her audition, her mother spoke about how much music had meant to her from the time she was a toddler. Music has always been a part of her life, she explained. Even before she could talk, she would hum along to the songs we played for her. It was clear from an early age that she had a natural connection to sound. Even though Lucy's success had just started, the challenges she faced before stepping on stage showed how strong and determined she really was. A dream that changed everything. As the young girl's star continued to rise, her family remained grounded, focusing on helping her balance her newfound fame with the normal joys of childhood. After all, she was still just a 5-year-old girl who loved to sing, and they wanted to make sure she had the chance to enjoy her childhood while also pursuing her dreams. Her path to the America's Got Talent stage was not an easy one. Born with a rare genetic condition that left her completely blind, she had faced challenges from the moment she entered the world. For her parents, navigating life with a child who had special needs was not always easy, but they were determined to give her the best possible life, filled with love, support, and encouragement. From an early age, it became clear that she had a deep love for music. Her parents noticed that she had an uncanny ability to pick up melodies and rhythms, even before she could speak in full sentences. Music seemed to be her way of interacting with the world, a way for her to express herself in ways that words couldn't always capture. As she grew older, her parents did everything they could to nurture her love of music. They enrolled her in music classes and found teachers who could work with her unique needs. It was clear to everyone who heard her sing that she had an extraordinary gift. But for her parents, it was about more than just talent. It was about helping her find joy and fulfillment in something she loved. Over the years, she faced many challenges due to her blindness. She had to work harder than other children to learn certain skills, and there were times when it seemed like the world wasn't always built to accommodate her needs. But through it all, she remained positive, always finding ways to adapt and overcome whatever obstacles came her way. By the time she auditioned for America's Got Talent, she had already defied so many expectations. Standing on that stage in front of thousands of people was just another testament to her resilience and determination. She wasn't defined by her blindness. If anything, it was a part of what made her so special. And when she sang, it was as if all of those challenges melted away, leaving only her incredible voice and the emotions she so powerfully conveyed. In the days and weeks following her unforgettable audition, her story continued to spread, inspiring millions of people across the globe. She had quickly become an inspirational figure, not just because of her talent, but because of the way she had overcome adversity with grace and courage. For many people, especially those in the disabled community, her story was a powerful reminder that limitations are only as strong as we allow them to be. She had shown the world that no obstacle, whether it be blindness or anything else, could stop someone from achieving their dreams if they had the passion and determination to succeed. Her story resonated deeply with parents of children with disabilities who saw in her a beacon of hope for their own kids. They saw that it was possible to pursue one's dreams, no matter how daunting the challenges might seem. She had shown them that talent knows no boundaries, and that every person, no matter their circumstances, has something valuable to offer the world. The outpouring of support for her was overwhelming. Messages of love and encouragement flooded in from people all over the world, all of them touched by her story and inspired by her resilience. She had become a symbol of hope and inspiration, a reminder that anything is possible when you believe in yourself and never give up. While Lucy's performance on America's Got Talent was undoubtedly a life-changing moment, it was clear to everyone who witnessed it that her path was far from over. In fact, it was only just beginning. The exposure she received from her audition opened up countless opportunities for her to continue pursuing her dream of becoming a professional singer. Her family, who had always supported her passion for music, began working with professionals in the music industry to help Lucy develop her skills further. Vocal coaches and mentors stepped forward, eager to help Lucy reach her full potential and guide her along the path toward a successful music career. Is Lucy's talent truly a gift beyond her years? Or is there something more behind her incredible performance? Tell us what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.